welcome. I am here tonight to put a face, a friendly face, on the transgender military member. I am Laura Meeks, Major, U.S. Air Force, retired. I live here locally. I am in Rancho Mirage. I live and work in Rancho Mirage as a life coach. I spent my military career flying B-52 aircraft. I was trusted at that time to carry a bomb bay filled with weapons that were thousands of times more powerful than the weapons we dropped on Hiroshima. I was also trusted by my crew to bring them back alive. Recently, President Trump tweeted that transgender members of the military were somehow now a burden to the military, mainly due to the increased health care costs. My advice to you is do not be fooled by this propaganda tactic. I feel a vast majority of the 99% of Americans who are not currently in the military or going to war would be more than happy to let a qualified transgender member of the military take their spot in that war. I would suggest that the military, if the military medical costs are such a huge priority to the military, then I'm going to support a rider to their congressional bill. It's going to be called the Laura Meeks Rider, and this is what the rider says. It says that the military will be banned from dispensing Viagra to other people, which now cost 5 times the cost of transgender military health care. I dare say that if you can attach that rider to the transgender ban, that the Congress will think long and hard about how they're going to ban transgender members in the military. You know, recently I was able to go to Oshkosh, which I do have pilot. Where's my pilot? Back there. There are pilots. Oshkosh is an incredible air show, and while I was there, they had a static B-52 on display, and there was a crew there that was supporting the static display. And so when I was there, I went out and I talked to the crew. It didn't take them very long to figure out that as I was talking and telling them about how I used to fly this airplane back in the day, that perhaps I looked a little different back then, since not too many women were flying the B-52 when I was there. As we started this conversation, it turned out that they were very aware of this transgender issue, and when I asked the crew, and the pilot in particular, how they felt about transgender members of the military, his answer to me was this. He said, my concern is, can you land the airplane? Can you bring your crew back? That's what's important. I don't care whether you're black, white, or transgender. That's what's important to me. You know, one of the things that I have to say is that his thoughts do echo my experience in the military. My experience was this, is that soldiers, sailors, and airmen are mainly concerned about getting the job done, period. Okay? When bullets are flying, we rarely have time to think about race and gender. Our concern is, can we get home alive? You know, when I was in the Air Force, I went through POW training, and one of the things that we did in POW training, we studied the POW experience in the Vietnam era, and one of the people that we studied was now Senator John McCain. And this is what John McCain just said recently. When less than 1% of the Americans are volunteering to join the military, we should welcome those who are willing and able to serve our country. Any member of the military who meets the medical and readiness standards should be allowed to serve, including transgender members. What really concerns me a lot more than that is how few members of our political force have any military background. I'm always amazed at how they can wax eloquently about the destruction of the discipline in the military due to transgender military members, yet they have never been involved in the military. My belief is that if anybody wants to create peace, that there is no one more concerned about peace than veterans. Veterans, and some of you have already told us you have witnessed war. War is hell. War is hell. War is nothing like the movies. It is nothing like your video games, and there's probably no one more aware of that than veterans. My feeling is this, is that war, the use of our military force should never be used casually, and that war should be our tool of last resort. You know, when my kids went to college, one of the things that we asked them to do was to contribute to their college education. And the reason that we asked them to do that is we knew they would value their college education more if they had skin in the game. And I think currently Americans, all Americans, need to have skin in the game when we use military force. America has been asleep for far too long. And I have to tell you that if President Trump has done one thing well, and he has done this better than anybody I have seen, he has woken every American up. We are all wide awake. Military service is not a right. It is a duty. It is a duty for all Americans, not just the 1% that are currently fighting our wars. I'm proud of my military service and those that I have served with. And I know in my heart that Americans represent every ethnicity, every race, every sexual orientation, and every gender presentation. We are all part of the greatest experiment in government that humans have ever attempted. Mr. President, we are now all awake, and we will be building a greater version of the military as we all stand together united. For remember, we are the United States. Thank you.